Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me, Amanda T, here on Create Your Future. I am so grateful you're here. I intend that you all like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. You guys, my amazing success story today on how to manifest the impossible. I can't wait to tell you, but just make sure before I go into it that you have tried our free course on how to manifest anything fast and get past those blocks. Also, I'm still 50% off one-on-one coaching. So you guys, my amazing success story for my client. Oh, it's so fantastic. I was like ready to cry, happy tears. We'd had a couple sessions where we were talking about her beloved SP. And then at the very end of a session, she mentions to me, I mean, just a blip. She wasn't trying to really say anything, but just how some things are impossible to manifest. And she knows some things you just can't get. And I was like, whoa, what? And she tells me about this story that's been going on for about 5 years. She has a close relative that she really misses, and she feels that another relative is basically creating drama and blocks. And it was a lot of drama. So I understand why she thought it was really big and that it couldn't be moved. I wish I could tell you all the details. I really could, because I get why she felt that way. Now, what I told her is I was like, you will be amazed actually at how easy this is to move. I see it clear as a bell, and we're going to get it done in 2 steps. And you would not believe how easy it will be to manifest your SP even better after this, because you will have unblocked something that you thought was impossible, and you're going to see how powerful you are. She did. So the first thing we did is we picked our end, you guys. So sometimes I kind of call this my Hail Mary play, because people seem not to really be able to do it unless they have tried everything. Like they've done the text, they've done the phone calls, they've reached out to the person, they've talked, they've literally tried every single thing they could in the 3D. And so when it's just visualizing the end, that's all there is to do. You really kind of surrender to that. So we picked our end that she would just be hugging this person. And that was it. I said, make it strong. And how do we do that, you guys? Well, if you've done coaching with me or watched my past videos, I pick a memory, like a really loving, happy memory. No words need to be said, just the emotion, invoke it, embody it, bring it up to heart center, and really feel it as you visualize for about 20 to 30 seconds and feel the strength. So remember, it was her hugging. So the strength, the hold, smell the hair, of this person that you love, and you just hold them as tight as you can. And you're so grateful and thankful because you didn't actually think you would get to experience this again. So it's such a joyous, rich moment. And we had her visualize that. We did the first one together, and I said, keep doing that. Don't stop. The second step I had her do, and this was it, was, like I said, she thought there was a somewhat of a third party, a family member that was creating drama in the way. And from the 3D, it sure as heck did look like that. Lots of things were in the way. There's a reason it had taken 5 years. There was a reason she believed it was impossible. It was really emotional and draining on her family. It's a lot bigger than what I'm actually telling you guys, but it only took these 2 steps, because that's the power of manifestation. That's the power of you, and that's the power of love. I kid you not. So the second step was to imagine the third party, so to speak, right? The other relative that was creating the drama in front of you, just as though they are a hologram, like you've heard me guys say in other videos. Imagine the hologram of this person, but you don't know them. There's no attachment. There's no story. There's no history. Maybe you're at like a checkout line in front of the 7-Eleven or something like that, and you just see them. And if something was to happen to this person, like say a car runs in and, just wipes them out, you would be horrified. You'd say, oh my God, this innocent person. It's a lot easier to have empathy and see people in a detached state of not doing anything personally to you, if you see them in just as a raw individual, just a human individual. And remember, you guys, forgiveness is divine. Forgiveness is divine. And that was the second thing I asked her to do. Just imagine this person with the backstory that they know. Maybe there's some mental health issues. I've had that with some other clients. Maybe they had an abusive home growing up. Maybe their parents had mental health issues growing up. I have a whole video on how people treat you and things coming up. But the point is take what you know about this person, strip them raw of what they have done to you, and just take what you know and see them as a human individual, flawed individual, and love them and forgive them, that they are not perfect, just like you are not going to be perfect. The second part of that is, while you're in that state of forgiveness and seeing them as a whole person, is that what you also want to do is see them as a changeable person. They're not, I'm just going to start throwing some things out there. They're not angry. They're not, if you see them as set in their ways, like an angry person that wants to block this and you don't know why and doing that, well, it doesn't take much. It literally took nothing. I said, well, maybe, there's a TikTok or a wild, I don't even remember what I specifically told her, because for each client, obviously, you guys, it is specific. But the point is that if you see them as they are and in this way, oh, anxiety, maybe they're a person who has anxiety. If you keep on saying this person is anxious, they will be an anxious person. But if you say, they used to be anxious, but they really seem to have calmed down. They really seem to have dealt with their anxiety. I'm really proud of them for growing and changing, and give them blessings and see them as a person who can adapt, who can grow, come from love in your heart after you forgive them and say, you know what? They're not trying to stop me from seeing this person. They're not trying to stop me from getting this thing. That's just a limiting belief. That's just an attitude I have. That's just what I've seen. But the truth is, with love in my heart, I believe they can adapt and grow and change. And you guys, the movement, I mean, from impossible to holding this person in your arms after 5 years. I wish I could tell you all the details, but it's incredible. And it only took those 2 steps. That's all it took. And it's not my first client to have excelled by just using 2 steps in a situation like this. I have another client, had an exact same sort of situation, only there was a child involved. They'd been like a foster parent. I won't get into the details too much, but you guys, we deal with some nitty gritty stuff here, not just our beloved SPs and everything. And there's a whole adoption thing and all this stuff going on. And, we kind of did the same thing. And it's actually the story I told my client. I said, she can do it and you can do it. And now you guys have a great example of someone who really thought it was impossible and yet still coming to me to manifest. And they didn't think it was possible. Everything is possible. Nothing is impossible. And like I said, it was so easy and quick. Go ahead and book coaching. I intend that this video brings you lots of help and joy. I love you all so much. Bye.